What's up?
All right. What's going on, crew? Happy Monday.
A new background there, Adele.
Yeah, she looks like she's in a cool area. I see like all kinds of like nice tropical vibes back there, it seems like. Nice.
I'm just going to make up a story. We'll call it Bali. We'll say she's in Bali.
It looks like Bali. It's not Bali. Where is it, Adele?
It's Colombia.
Colombia.
Yes, but we're in the coffee region, so we're like in the valley with all the beautiful, everything around us, and it's gorgeous. I was actually thinking it looks like Bali here, but it's in the coffee region.
Yeah. Looks like
Yeah,
it. Looks like it. Hey,
it
good to
is.
guys have good to have you guys here. I'll give it like one more minute. We'll dive in. I've got a pretty solid stack of slides for you guys, but we'll be able to go through pretty quick, and then we'll, like always, we'll end the second half into Q&A. And this is hard to believe. This is week 6 of the cohort calls. So we've got only one left, and that will be next week. So yeah, it's gonna be good. I've got some cool stuff to share with you guys though, and then I want to make sure that we are working smarter, not harder. We're going to talk about that. It's going to be good. All right, cool. Looks like we've got a good little crew in here so far. We'll go ahead and get started. First off, in the chat, give me a 1 out of 5 how you are feeling. And when I say how you're feeling, I don't want the like, oh, I'm good. I want like a true, just take 1 minute and just evaluate yourself like on a holistic, energetic level, 1 out of 5, 5 being like peak performance, you're at peak state, 1 being like, hey, Mike, I'm just having a hard time in whatever capacity. 1 out of 5, hit me in the chat with where you're at. I'll go first because everyone hates to go first. I would say I'm about a 4 right now. I'm not quite there. Feeling a little bit tired. I think the time change is kind of throwing me off a little bit. So I'm just not at peak state. So if you guys see me not operating at peak state, well, guess what? This is what it looks like. We're all there. We're all human. But I'm excited though, and that energy of being excited for the week is coming up. We've got the executive offsite that we do every quarter, and so I'll be flying to Nashville on Wednesday, all day meeting with the crew on Thursday, and then we have the chamber flying on Friday. So it's gonna be a lot. It's always makes for a fast-paced week, but I'm excited for it. All right, so Frederick, well, let's go. Randy, you were first. 2 today. The weekend was a 5. Okay, so feeling a little bit of the Monday vibes. I get that. I understand. Frederick 3, Ryan 3, Phil 4, Greg 2. Yeah, slowing down is good. Judith 3, Ben 2. Yeah, slow down to speed up. Frederick says, yeah, easier said than done. Zoltan says 3. Okay, cool. Well, hey, look, we can't fix something if we don't know it's broke, or we're not willing to acknowledge that it's not working, right? So it's always good just to kind of self-evaluate, where am I at? And then probably a high level question would be, okay, well, what could I do in the next 2 hours after attending this amazing call, of course? What could I do in the next couple hours that I could increase my state by 0.5 even? Like, we don't have to go crazy, but what would just bring it up just a little bit? Give yourself a really micro little thing that you could do. Would it be taking a walk? Would it be a 15-minute nap? Would it be pounding 2 glasses of water? I mean, whatever you can do just to increase by even 0.5, right? Sometimes people are so busy trying to hit a home run all the time that they forget that just getting on base often is the answer, because then you can get yourself around the other bases too, right? So the harder and harder things get, the more your attention should focus in on what's the immediate, what's the next step I can do, and not always looking at the top of the mountain, because sometimes the top of the mountain feels really far away and it can be hard. And so, I use the analogy all the time with clients, like when you're climbing Everest, yeah, you look at the top and then you put your vision down and you're just focused on that next step. Like, that's all you're thinking about is just, how do I get my foot to go from there to right there in front of my face, right? And that sometimes can feel really, really arduous. So it's important to do that. All right, cool. Let me share my screen and we're going to get into it right here. And Chrome tab. There we go. Share. Cool. All right. Call number 6. Oh my God, this has been flying by. All right. So quick recap. Before we go any further, it's imperative upon imperative that we make sure that we can absolutely address these things that we talked about at the end of last week, which was making sure that we have a clearly defined ICP profiles for 1, 2s, and 3s. Now, again, if you are jumping in cohort midstream or whatever, don't stress. This is a self-paced environment, but this is what, by the time you've gotten through completely and not just gone through it, but actually engaged and deployed the information you're learning in module 5, this is really where you want to be at the end of module 5 is a clearly defined ICP profiles for 1, 2, and 3, your version 1.0 flagship offer and pricing sorted out. You want your cross-platform branding in play, content creation, distribution schedule fully mapped out. Like I know what days I'm supposed to do what, right? Really clearly. Fully mapped out lead to client strategy that, like we talked about last week. Just have clarity. What does this look like? What's that flow supposed to look like? What should I be looking for on a daily and weekly basis? Direct outreach script and daily KPIs tracked, meaning you are actively in the marketplace every single day using time blocks. Of course, you have an allocated time of your day where you are actively engaged in stirring up the bushes in your marketplace, creating conversations, getting the things going. You now have your sales script customized and you've role played it. Drop in the chat. I'd love to know. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you have actively role played with either somebody here in the group or with somebody else in your life or network. Actively role played your sales call or your prospecting call. Yes or no? Phil says no. No problem. Michael says no. No, no, no. Only twice. No, no. Okay. No, no. All right. No worries. Well, number one, thank you for everyone being honest. That's good. Lael, open up your mic, dude. This is your world for sure, man. For those that don't know, Lael's a sales pro. Like I stole him from the sales team internally because I was like, no, I like this guy. I'm bringing him over to CS. Lael, what's your take on role playing in general? Like, what's your vibe? What do you like? What do you don't like? What's the level of importance? What do you think?
Role playing is like practice before the game. So you're getting your reps in and practice in the game. It comes naturally. So role playing is always going to be great. You can practice for real world situations and be prepared for whenever that comes about, whether it's objections, whether it's how you're flowing through your conversation. All of those things can be practiced and tuned. And the best at sales and those that are comfortable with it are doing that on a regular basis.
How often would you say the guys in the sales department here at TWC, how often are they role playing, would you say?
At least twice a week.
At least twice a week. Okay. Could you give us some insight on what that looks like? I mean, I know we just role play, but is there any kind of structure to it? Like, are they going back and forth, or how are they deciding what questions to ask? Could you provide any kind of insights on that? I know I'm kind of just throwing this out at you, but I feel it's something that we've never really talked about here in LaunchKit.
Sure. I think it starts with knowing what you're having issues with. And that starts with you recording your calls, right? So whether it's an SDR or AE, those calls are recorded and they're listening back to them to determine, okay, this is where I could have tightened up here, or this is where I'm having some trouble. And that's what you can bring to the role play and role play the situation from different angles. Because just like with Peyton on Sales Clinic, there could be a different way that you say something with your aggression that can make all of the difference. So those nuances can be picked up in role play and practice as well. Love that.
Yeah, guys, I have to tell you, it's not necessarily something that we've really hammered home here. So I'm gonna do it here. You have to be recording your calls. It is imperative, because how it feels and how you think you're doing versus how it really is coming across on the other end of the line is almost always different. And I remember going through this process myself when I was launching my first agency, and really going through the process of, getting on the phone with people that I'd never talked to before. And, they're booking things, booking calls on my calendar, and realizing that what I thought I was doing and how I thought I was conveying my service proposition or my unique service proposition was just, it was coming off soft, just the tonality. You know, I'm a fairly laid back guy. And so I have a tendency, and maybe you guys have even seen this, where I have a tendency to just, it's cool, it's casual, like, yeah, sounds good, you know, and that's not always good. Sometimes it can be. You don't need to be, you know, overbearing, like, you know, hyper A-type personality all the time, especially if that's not you. But the point being that how I thought I was conveying my message was not how it was necessarily coming across. And this is something I really want to share with you guys, because you're putting in, at this point, I would hope you've been putting in so much attention, energy, effort into everything that's here on our screen, you know, the ICPs and the branding and the content creation, this and that, to get somebody all the way to the point where you are now talking with someone, and then to have that not convert because you haven't invested the effort into tuning in your message and how you're conveying that message, would be a shame. And this is where a lot of people just don't do it. There's like, well, when I talk to someone, I'll talk to someone. And they're so busy trying to get people, get those conversations going, whether it be through DM or on calls or otherwise. The fact of the matter is there's an entire world of salesmanship, and you have to embrace it. Doesn't mean that you'll have to do it forever. But I would say, even if your hope is to one day have a closer or somebody on your team that's, you know, doing these types of sales conversions for you, ultimately you being the owner, CEO, founder, the origination of the message proposition, you have to be able to convey to somebody why they should take the next step with you. Why should they exchange their hard-earned money for your service or program or product, right? So it's just a necessary thing that you have to do. The more uncomfortable you are, the more hesitant you are about doing this, the more you delay or procrastinate on doing these role plays, is a signal to you that it is something that you should be doing. The more resistance you feel here is like, that's a big like flag waving in front of your face. Hey, yeah, this is something you should be doing. So if you find yourself not getting around to it, if you find yourself being a little too busy to get to it, guess what? That is blatantly in your face telling you this is something you should be focused on, because it's probably very likely could be where people are falling off. And like I said, I'd hate to, at this point, get you to this, opportunity where you're starting to have real conversations in the marketplace and not have those conversations convert. There will always be a trial and error. There's always going to be a learning curve, and you will get better if, assuming that you actually put in the time to do so. You will definitely become a lot more effective down the road, but you have to get some serious reps. Like 100+ phone calls was always kind of like, in my mind, the benchmark minimum before you could ever expect yourself to have a true closing percentage. Lael, what are your thoughts on that? Like, if someone's brand new to get on the phone and taking people through the process of their offer and their delivery, at what point should someone expect to start to feel even remotely confident that they can have a consistent and effective close rate on calls?
Yeah, I love that number that you gave, man. To your point, one of the things that Taylor has instilled in us is certainty. And you're not going to get that until you practice that over and over. And the cool thing is, guys, we're not expecting you all or wanting you all to be like Peyton, for example, like this Jordan of closing. It's about certainty. You don't even have to be 100% like Peyton is. The whole point is that you're able to convey the certainty of your offer and what you're talking about to your prospect so that they buy, because they are certain that they're going to get the results that you claim that you can get them.
Yep. I love that. Yeah, you're right. It's that certainty. I mean, be authentic. Obviously, if people have gotten to the point where they are now, allocating their precious time to get on the phone with you to talk about whatever it is that you are, putting into the marketplace, that's a pretty awesome thing to have happen. As you guys know, getting anyone's attention nowadays is challenging, to say the least. And so to go through the repetitive effort of making that actually happen, number one is an awesome win. You should, every single time you guys get somebody booked on your calendar, take a moment to like pause and celebrate that. That's a big deal. Like, wow, someone actually cared enough about what I'm saying in a busy, loud, noisy environment to allocate, like I said, some time to learn more about it. that's a great testament to your efforts so far. So number one, celebrate that. But then number two, honor that by doing what it takes to get good. And to the point where we've actually invested heavily in this area. If you haven't already, every single Tuesday, we have a sales clinic call with Peyton. Like this is available to Launch Kit and Chamber. Originally it was just Chamber. And we were like, no, at this point, we want, this is too valuable and too much of a piece of the conversion process to not allow this to be a Launch Kit asset. So by all means, attend those calls and connect with those, with others in the community to role play, because you've got to get that down. You've got to role play it. You've got to hear yourself back, recording it, hear it back so you can understand, how am I conveying this, and am I conveying it in a way that's truly going to resonate with the ideal client that I'm looking for. So anyway, a little bit of a tangent there, but it's just something we never really like highlighted and kind of put some bright lights on. And so I wanted to take this moment just to do that, because it's really, really imperative. And in the case that no one's been role playing, you better. it's imperative. All right, let's move on. I'll stop harping on that, but it's critical, guys. Like, I'd love to be able to go back. In fact, let's do this. I'll put one last nail in the coffin on this one, on this thought process. Next week, next Monday's cohort call, I'm going to be asking who's done role playing again. All right. And I want you to be able to say yes. And more importantly, I'd love to hear from you directly. What happened when you did? Like, what takeaways did you get? Even if it was like, oh, I just felt good and whatever. But I think every single time, every person that does it has come away with some pretty cool insights. So I'll be asking. That's your homework. There we go. All right. Now, warning at this stage, guys, again, assuming that we have all this in place, right? Assuming that we've done all this, you can say, yes, we've done it. Oh, I didn't even get to the last one, which is the billing and onboarding dialed in, which we talked about last week as well. Like, at this point in the game, I want you to have an absolute clarity of what it would look like if someone handed you money now, like this minute, they're ready to say and move forward with you. Like, yep, I'm ready to go. What would happen? What would you do? What emails would you send? Do you have that templatized? What link would you send them for payment? What would you send them for confirmation? What would happen next? Like, this needs to be thought through, because if you don't have it thought through, you're literally telling the universe, I'm not expecting anybody to buy from me today. I'm not expecting anyone to sign up for my course. I'm not expecting anybody to hire or contract my services. You are literally telling the universe at a quantum level that you don't need to, because you don't have it yet. So be very wary if that's the case. Again, if you're finding yourself midstream here, once you get to the end of module 5, please make sure that you are ready, willing, and able to onboard somebody and have that be a unique and exceptional experience. Oh boy, blatant. So blatant. Oh my God, that was just horrendous. All right.
Plug there, man. I see you.
It's ugly. It's ugly. All right. At this stage of the game, though, guys, I want to have a warning here: is don't get over your head with the concept. Like, there truly is only one number one KPI. There's a lot to measure, which is exactly where we're going to go next here for the next few minutes. But there is essentially one, which is how many times are you on the phone or in contact in any way with someone that is either going to say yes or no to your offer. If you are not hearing no's, then it means you're not asking. You're not giving them the ability to say yes. So as cool as it is to hear yes, I would be wary if I'm not hearing no's. If I'm not having people say, yeah, no, thank you, or not right now, or whatever, then you need to ask yourself, well, what am I doing? Like, what am I not doing? What am I not doing in the market that's allowing somebody to say yes or no? All right. That's the number one KPI. Now, whether that's a sales call or a link being sent or an email being sent, that's, again, everybody's businesses are going to be different depending on the evolution of where you're at as a business and offer. But the point being the same is that's the number one thing, and that should be a measurable outcome. Now, let's talk about making database decisions about this, right? There's really just a few key areas that we need to put our attention to. And all of these we've covered now at this point. So I'm just going to kind of run a highlighter across these items. Number one, attention. What am I doing today that's measurable to gain more attention in my marketplace? Is it a number of posts? Is it DMs sent? Is it a number of emails sent? Is it ads being published? Whatever it is, you need an attention mechanism. What is it and how are you measuring it? Number 2, demonstration. Once those people have opted in or engaged with you on any level or connected with you, how are you demonstrating this? Is this a sales call? Is it a webinar? Is it a workshop, stages, podcast, books, group, whatever it is? How are you allowing the market to say yes or no to what it is that you're offering, or to at least get farther down the road with you? Because the next step obviously is monetization, right? Number of products moved, courses enrolled, services provided, etc. This is the business equation. This is what we talked about: attention, demonstration, monetization. This is part of the codex that I was hinting at, which is a huge piece. It's literally the macro framework that we operate all of Chamber under. So I'm just kind of giving you guys a sneak feel of what that looks like. But there's actually a 4th level that we talked about, but not necessarily in depth, and that's the retention piece. We talked last week about pricing, or was it? Yeah, it was the week before. I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago. We talked about pricing your offers and the fact that you can bolt on monthly recurring revenue, all kinds of different options there, which we go over. But the point being that you have continuity, meaning people continue to pay month after month for their access. You have ascension opportunities, meaning people have enrolled for maybe a introductory type course or program or service with you, and you have the opportunity to ascend them to the next level, if you will. Renewals, people, again, paying for new subscriptions or adding on to what they already have. And then, of course, there's also the referral component, right? People actively word of mouth, video testimonials, and things like that. In last week, or rather this week, we were talking about gaining word of mouth referrals, video testimonials. So in module 6, you'll see that. And I actually just this morning added a small detail to how we collect and publish our video testimonials. So if you haven't seen that, you can check it out. It's module 6.1. All right. Treat your business like a professional, and you'll be compensated like a professional. You treat it like a hobby, it'll compensate you accordingly. The fact that you are here suggests that you treat it like a professional, but it is something to consider. So what gets measured gets done. These are the primary areas of a business. You have your client attraction, then you have the conversion piece, then you have the service delivery. How are you actually doing it? The internal operations. This is what we haven't talked about necessarily yet, and that's what we're going to dive into next. Your internal operations, meaning the billing, the banking, the invoicing, the tracking, etc. Like these are kind of levels that you're going to be going through as a business owner. And then lastly, team development. Once you actually have a system in place and you are moving clients through your programs, offers, or services, you're naturally going to most likely need people on your team. And this brings on a whole nother layer to the entrepreneurial equation here, is that once you've gotten to the point that you can, capture people's attention, convert them, onboard them effectively, provide the service, the solution, the promise that you've established, and then run a business reliably over and over and over again to maintain these 3 pieces. Once you have that, guess what? The next level is team development. So you never stop learning, right? There's always new levels and new things happening. For the sake of Launch Kit, naturally, we kind of focus on these first 3 primarily: client attraction, client conversion, service delivery, at least to get you started, right? That's what you need in place initially. But as you ascend in a chamber, what happens? You start realizing, well, hang on, like I can deliver my service to a point, but then stuff starts breaking. And now you got problems, because it's cool to get a client and bring them through your process and deliver your service. But you know what's not rad is when you have 20 people enroll or 20 people sign up, and then you're like, holy crap, like now I have a whole nother set of problems. And their success can kill. There is such a thing as growing too fast. And so internal operations becomes something that you really need to look at, which of course extends to team development. So that's kind of the evolution of things, the way we look at them. But to control these environments, we use a really simple dashboard. Give me a hit. I've been talking for a while. So guys, drop in the chat yes or no if you have yet to download or create your version of this, copy this dashboard and actually use it. Yes, I have, or no, I haven't. I'll wait for you guys to respond. Cool. No, not yet. All right. Randy, I'm going to put you on the spot, buddy. What would you say is your impression of this dashboard? Having used it, do you use it a lot? Have you found it just as a way to get started? Is it something you continue to use? What say you?
I've been using it off and on, to be quite honest, and it gives me a good roadmap along the way. But because I haven't had a lot of reps, it's hard for me to make a good connection with it because, I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. I'm not getting to the people that I need to talk to. And so it's good. I go through all the different pieces, but at the same time, I don't think I'm being able to use it as well as I should.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll dig into that here shortly then. Good. Frederick, what about you, man? Are you available? I don't see you yet on here, but you're somewhere in here. There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Good to go. What aspect of this dashboard have you used so far?
So I'm really just playing with the scheduling piece of it, like the time blocking piece of it. I haven't really played around too much with the other tabs. So I'm kind of in the same boat as Randy, that I'm trying to get more consistent with using that every day.
Cool. Okay. Perfect. So let me just scan through this really quick, guys. These are all, each tab in this dashboard is covered inside of LaunchKit. So I'm not going to use our time necessarily goes tab by tab, but annual goals, pretty basic, but imperative. You got to know where you're going to before you're ever going to get there. This is the time blocking component. Highly, highly suggested that you sort out how to use this. Everybody here at TWC, Taylor, myself, Gabriel, Lael, literally every single person on the team uses this strategy to make sure that they are allocating their energy and time, which is finite, towards the activity that should be being attended to at that moment. And especially as you guys continue to grow, we kind of talked about this last week, you're going to allocate some days towards strictly sales and then some days strictly to content development, supporting existing clients, et cetera. So you're not context switching throughout the day, all day long. You want to be like time blocking, right? And kind of deciding what days of the week you're going to be doing which particular tasks in order to be far more effective. The reverse engineering calculator, this is massive. It's a basic tool, but you can watch the tutorial. It'll literally tell you on a daily basis how many outbound messages you should be sending in order to generate the type of attention you want in the marketplace. This is just a very hyper simplistic pipeline or lead tracker just for your personal notes. This breaks down converting that outreach into actual conversions and monitoring your call percentage.
Mike, can you share your screen, bro?
I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I was this whole time. Thank you for that. Hang on. I guess I have to close this. Stop sharing. You guys are watching me point at something and not getting what I'm pointing at. Hang on. That was, Lael, you should have yelled at me earlier.
I thought I was tripping at first.
Everyone's like, what the heck is going on? See, guys, you don't have to be perfect to be rich. All right.
But you're so descriptive. It's like we were really seeing it.
Yeah, right. All right. We good? All right. Here we go. So this is the dashboard, right? Annual goals. You got to be filling those out. The productivity template, what I was just talking about, we literally run our lives by this. Lael, yes or no on that?
Yes.
Perfect.
Every day, brother.
Every day. Reverse engineering calculator. This is, again, where you literally just enter in numbers in these two yellow boxes, and it'll tell you by the hour how much time you need to dedicate per day towards your outreach strategy. It'll give you certainty. It'll give you clarity. It'll give you confidence. There's some pretty big things there that justify why I did all that to put it there, by the way. Your leads. Again, this is the hyper simplistic, just lead pipeline. You don't have to use this, but you should be using something like this for monitoring everybody that you're connecting with, because here's the thing, guys, the gold is in the follow-up. If you are having a conversation and someone says no after one time, or you followed up twice and you didn't hear back, I'm telling you, it's the people that clear the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th follow-up sometimes, which is where things really get done. All right. So amateurs will typically only reach out once, twice, maybe 3 times at the most, and stop it there. And the pros come in and clean them up. And the amateurs have done all the work up front, doing all the hard work, and then you have pros sweeping in and can clean them up. So just don't let people slip through the cracks simply because you don't have a good mechanism for tracking your conversations. This is that direct outreach tracker I started to talk about before Lael saved me. This is the one loss percentage of your calls. It's a really powerful way of monitoring your effectiveness of those calls. So number 1, be attending the sales clinic calls. Number 2, record those calls. Number 3, role play those calls. Number 4, track your results. What gets measured gets done. And this is exactly what that is for. If you have anything less than 30 or 40, I think I put on here, 30 plus calls, not a significant percentage. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't care if it says 100 or not. Until you have at least 30 calls under your belt, there's no such thing as a closing percentage. You need to get reps. There's no other way around it. Sales and expense tracker. This is something we haven't really talked about, but I hinted at just a minute ago in that slides, the internal operations. We have to know what's going on in our business and where our money is being spent. We don't go super deep on this. If you guys have other financial calculators or tools or whatnot, great, fantastic. But this is at the very least an example of what you should be monitoring on a weekly and monthly basis in your business. Because if you're not, it's really not about the money that you're making. It's about the money that you're keeping. And to understand where your money is flowing in and from and to is something that is imperative, obviously. And then applications, tools, there are just a few basics here that we use. You can use that as you see fit. I'll be adding to it over time probably too. All right, so that is that, guys. Again, I just want to make sure that you understand that these things, I didn't just put these things here to like give you more things to give you. Like, these are the bare minimum tools that you need to operate your business efficiently and effectively. All right, let's get into some Q&A. I've been going fast. Do we have a question queue yet? Doesn't seem like it, which is fine. But if you do, drop in the chat that you just put question, and we'll get a questions queue fired up.
Greg, why don't you go ahead and start? Because I know you were mentioning that you wanted to dive into some things, and then I can get the question queue started here.
Cool. Thank you. So this goes back to module 3. Just so you know, I've been kind of racing through and feeling great, right? And I realized, you said something, Mike, about everything in the sales and marketing arena hinges on having 100% clarity in that module, invest any amount of time needed. And I realized, you know what? I raced through everything, but it's not buttoned up at all. So I think I should be spending more time there. I'm hung up on market, solution, method. Market, I feel like I have down. Could always be refined, but I'm good there. Solution, I got back survey data. I got back 15 replies. I'm waiting on another 5 to 7 that are ICP1s. So I'm looking forward to what that's saying.
Nice.
3 most challenging aspects: time management, number 1, followed by prioritizing, which was tied with growing my team, which is finding and retaining talent. Then I asked highest priority right now in your business, lead gen, prospecting, followed by systems and structure, which is SOPs, automation, that kind of thing, and then time management. And then method, I'm stuck there as well. So I took a lot of time to really think about exactly what it is that I do, right? Because I really don't know until I really thought about it. So right now I'm in that Compass Marketplace. There's some copy and it's a video. I talk to their pain points. People hire me. I give them an intake, which is pretty detailed. Based on the intake, our first call, we go through that intake, and then I kind of map out what we're going to work on together. So it's different with every person. If they want mindset help, I do that with them. If they need to prioritize, we get things out of their head onto paper, kind of break them down into manageable chunks, put them on the calendar. There's a definite life coaching angle with a lot of people who want to better optimize themselves, get in better shape, go to the gym, all that kind of stuff. Team leaders want to work on different things. I work with them on how to hire and retain talent, just based on what I know, like the importance of who's and not how, discovering what kind of person they want to hire. You also asked me, I think last week, what are the top 3 to 5 solutions that or end results that I can help produce? So what I did was I went through all of my testimonials and I was like, I don't know, let me see what they're saying.
Smart.
And a lot of this stuff, like, I don't know how to think of it in terms of, okay, that's my thing, because it's all over the place. It's like more in control of their schedule, better time management, increased GCI, clients feel like they've leveled up, better work-life balance, business growth through prioritization, increased motivation. So it's a lot of stuff. And so when I'm looking at market, solution, method, I feel like I'm all over the place with solution and method. So what I was saying was, I help real estate agents and team leaders better manage their time, teams, and focus so they're more productive and more profitable. That kind of sounds very vanilla, but it's actually kind of what I do. Then going through the module I came up with, I help experienced real estate agents earn more GCI by helping them strategize, optimize, and prioritize. You went over on my post, suggested I help experienced real estate agents, professionals boost GCI, scale their teams by installing strategic planning and process optimization systems. And I think it all boils down to the fact, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to land this plane here, I don't have a system, right? I feel like what I do is so different person to person. So I'm struggling with what is the system, so that I can, speak to that.
Yeah, no, it's very valid. And this is the problem that plagues most subject matter experts, especially the ones that have been in their game for a long time. I've worked with some SMEs that have been teaching on stages and writing books for 20 years, and they still struggle with this when I ask them, what do you do? And then it's this long diatribe about blah, 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 all this stuff, because they have 2 decades or more of experience and insights and feedback and all these things. So I'm not so interested in trying to paint you or anybody into a corner by like, what's the one thing you do? It's like, no. You don't have to do that. But I think what you want to consider is the fact that there's probably, it sounds like, more than one ICP1 out there for you. And so a couple of things, we can just kind of go through this thought process. Number one, go through all your clients and pick out you'll, considering the volume that you've previously discussed, I'd imagine you can just do this in your own mind, is like, pick out the 5 favorite clients that you've had.
I did that already.
Good. Was there
Awesome.
any connection between those? Not so much what they needed, but just about them, or is there any semblance between those 5 people?
It's a shame I don't have that document up. They all were sort of kind of in a similar income level. They all are actually self-development people, so they speak that kind of language. So sometimes on our call, we can get a little woo-woo, which I love. They're all very just coachable and really are into collaboration. And one of the things that they get most out of the calls is they love just having a sounding board. I'm going to bounce a couple of things off of you. What do you think about this? And then we kind of put plans in place. So that's, I think, as far as I've gotten in terms of what the similarities were. Okay.
So kind of like what I alluded to in my comment on your post is, I think we kind of need to do 2 things. Number one, brand you. You are the person. You are the service that you are essentially putting out there. Unless you want to change that and have like a entire team or something below you, it sounds to me like you are the service or solution. At least that's been the case up to now. Is that correct?
Yes, but what I want to be doing, just to remind you, is I want to have some kind of a group thing, so I'm not just on 20 one-on-one calls a week, because I've been doing that for 2 years and it's exhausting.
Yeah, 100%. So what I'm kind of envisioning is, number one, branding you, making sure that, like, what was in my post? I think I said like the architect, the growth architect.
The growth architect, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that, but something like, kind of put a little bit of what I'm going for here is something that's just signature. You're not just a quote unquote coach, like you have a signature, unique service proposition, right? So we got to kind of like brand you a little bit. And then number 2, we need to productize your IP. So this is what we do inside Chamber, is it's a modular learning experience. So in LaunchKit, you guys are going through a linear experience, module 1, module 2, module 3, because there is a set criteria that has to be in place for any business to be successful. That's why Taylor and I designed this and built it this way, because these things have to get checked off before we can ever get into Chamber and go in more like, in different directions based on the different business models that you self-allocate. So that being said, like, launch kit's linear, but then once you get into chamber, it's modular. It's like, well, I'm doing 400K a month and my team just disintegrate. What do I got to do? Why would I like send them through a multi-modular course on finances or corporate structure if it's their team issue, right? So now they go into a more pick your own adventure type environment where they're like, I need that playbook for that. I need that playbook for that. And so they can kind of pick and choose what we call just-in-time learning, JIT, just-in-time learning. So that's where I kind of see maybe you going too, is productize your service delivery into, hey, we have the mindset component. We have the, what was it? The CIG or CGI?
Gross commission income. Yeah. CGI.
CGI, right? GCI. We have the GCI boost playbook, or, I don't know. So, see what I mean? Like, we got to kind of just productize it. And that way it has some true intellectual property kind of built in. So it's not just like what you had said, like, oh, I help people, simplify their, it's like, or whatever. It's just like, well, that sounds like something I can do. So why am I going to pay you for it?
Right.
You got to kind of like put your own little twist on it, add your little signature to things. And that's a little bit of we're kind of going into the marketing world here, right? It's not changing what you know or even how you deliver it. It's how it's being presented. And that's what I would suggest to you, is ask yourself, how do I want to be interpreted in the market? How do I want to be received in the marketplace? Just as a generalist, or as like a signature growth architect for aspiring professionals in the real estate industry? It's just how we articulate our value proposition that's dramatically going to differentiate the cost, or rather the fee that you can bring to the market, because the value proposition is different.
So think of that piece first, and then let the other pieces fall in line behind that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like to me that you can attract multiple different ICP ones into a group environment, because it sounds like you want to do a group, coaching type program, which is exactly essentially what we do with Chamber. They come into the program based on their onboarding. You can allocate, okay, you should be in this playbook and this playbook and this playbook. Those are yours. And so it's kind of a custom curriculum. Like if you're going to college, for example, just based on the degree that you're trying to achieve at the end is what classes they allocate. Yeah, the coursework, like Destin says. So I think you could take that same type of approach. And so it still feels very unique and custom, which I know you were worried about. What's this group? How's the group component going to be perceived?
Right.
But it allows you also to speak to the client where they are at.
So if I do mindset, if I do time optimization, if I do this, that, and the other, I'm looking at them now as separate pieces.
Yeah. And you should be evaluating your clients on the call and go, hey, look, I'm pretty confident I can help you. I've been doing this a long time, but I don't know where I can help you the most. So let's go into a little bit of a consultative kind of analytic mode here. And based on the output, I will be able to assign you different coursework based on where you are at. And now they're going to feel like, oh, cool. He's not just trying to cram me through, the same peg as everybody else. I'm going through a very customized solution just for me.
That's cool.
And you just, a quick note, you just started on module 4 too, right, Greg?
I did the first video in module 4, watched that a couple of times, and did not check it off because I wasn't able to complete the work associated with it. And then I went back into module 3.
Yeah, I mentioned that, Mike, because I think that's going to be a game changer for the system part that you're talking about, Greg, because it's going to force you, what Mike is talking about for those different ICPs, you're going to have to lay it out so it's clear for them. So going through that process of that template, it's going to be super helpful for you. And of course, you can throw that in the form for us to give you feedback on.
Love it. Okay, cool. Thank you for all that time. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No worries.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Phil.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. First time around, man, with your mic.
Yeah. Y'all. Did I tell you how that all happened? I tried to change my RAM in my computer, and apparently I cut like my Bluetooth.
Yikes.
Wow. Anyway, it's all fixed. Brand new computer. I feel great. Hey, Mike, I wanted to drill down on your follow-up sequence stuff. I know I mentioned it some on the sales call last week with Peyton. I think I'm in this range where I'm like right in that middle sector where I have enough clients to kind of have a pretty decently packed schedule, but I know that pipeline is going to be like, that's going to be ending in probably 90 days, right? So I need to start building up the pipeline for what happens afterwards. But from a time perspective, it's still just like a team of one deal. Okay. So I think from a follow-up, I 100% believe that like if you follow up more than 4 times, you're going to be like in a league of your own. But I just think practically, I'd love to hear kind of what your framework is for that, and like what works. So my ICP is very much like a creative entrepreneur that kind of bucks against like a hard sales message. And so right now I really have a 3-point sequence, which is like a more personalized outreach, like a quick kind of like 9-word ping to like, hey, any update here? Like, hey, are you getting this kind of thing? And then more of like a value add on the third one. And then I was going to do like a 30-day just ping them, kind of just stay on their radar kind of thing. So are you considering that like every 30-day ping part of your 10-point framework, or are you thinking, or do you have like something pretty templated, 1 through 10, you're putting a little personalization at the front end, and then you're just pinging them? Is it like day 1, day 3, day 7, day 14? I guess I just would love to know what you have seen work, because I'm at the point where I don't have enough brain capacity for like a ton of experimentation to kind of retain all that, and just would love to hear if you have any thoughts to bring it home a little bit more for me.
Yeah, definitely. And when you say follow up, are we following up on pre-existing or existing clients, but needing to renew into the next thing, or ascend to the next thing? Or are we talking about new leads, like people that we haven't had yet on board?
That's a great question. This is like cold outreach. So I would say the follow-ups would be to get them to just say, hey, Phil, what's up? Or just respond, get in conversation. So this would be like a sequence just to get them in that initial conversation with the hopes of getting them to a discovery call.
Got it. Okay. I have some thoughts, but Lael, I mean, this is something you've lived and breathed for a while, man. What do you say about this?
Yeah, I recommend doing like mapping out a template of times that you reach out to them, like how you were saying on the back end, like day 1, day 3.
Yeah.
We were automating that on our end. And it's also something that you can bring. I encourage you to bring to the sales clinic, man, because we can review the copy on that as well. I mean, you'd be surprised, like the things that work. Like I've sent out memes with nothing else just to get people to respond and get them on a call. So I would map out a template of like how many times you plan on reaching out to them, and then I can give you feedback on that as far as the days.
I just feel like I'm just so overcomplicating it. I felt like it's not like I'm against automating things, but it's more of like if I screw this up, I'm screwing it up times thousands, because there's so many people on it. And so there's a little bit of my list, a lot of my list right now. So I had a past business that it was a retail business, and we sold these vendors products through our store. But now my expertise is in teaching them more so how to run their businesses, right? So there is like a little bit of connection. It's just been years since. And so you can speak to this too, Lael. It's like, is there anything that is that should be making me more hesitant? Like, should I do like, hey, group of 10 and then see how this works, versus like, because I don't want to, if I have like a few shots with these folks, I don't want to like ruin that or let my reputation take a hit for the wrong meme or whatever, so.
I got you.
Yeah.
Where are these contacts stored?
Just Excel.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm using Pipedrive for my CRM.
Like Pipedrive. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to send you've been in contact with these people before, then you can always send like a message just giving them a heads up on what you're up to now. I mean, me personally, I don't think that it's a bad thing that someone has been on your list for X amount of time.
Yeah.
I was just talking with an email marketer, and he's got a friend of his that's touching bases with clients and people that has been on his list inactive since 2008 and getting sales. So the time frame, I don't think is as big as a deal. It's all about relevancy. And the people that feel like your offer is relevant to them will respond.
So could you just high level talk, even though yours are automated, just the days, like it's like, if let's say it's 10, day one, and then what are the next? Like,
Days are 10 touch points.
yeah. So how many days is in between each touch point? Like starting, because I know they kind of might vary, or is it just every 2 days I send this out until I get 10?
I think as you start getting further in the touch points, the timing gets further apart
Right.
as well. So for example, the first touch point, day 1, second touch point, day 3, third touch point would be day 6. And then you can put like 5 days, 2 weeks in between time.
Okay.
as well.
Gotcha.
Sounds dead on with what I was going to say, man. So that was great. I just got to sit here and attend. That was awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
put that together, Phil, and more than happy to give you feedback like after you have it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good do out. I'll do that. And this, I don't know if this is like a follow up, but again, with that past company, I had a decent sized audience with it, and a lot of this. So I don't know if I won't share my whole story, but I had a company that got ravaged with during the pandemic, like a retail organization, and so ended up having to close it. But I have a list of about 20,000 people on it that were in that community, and a lot of kind of how I'm getting back on the map is just sending out like an initial email of like, hey, just super grateful for everything you've done. Kind of just all for them, thanking them. And then a little something at the end that's just like, here's what I'm doing now. Right. So I've done this with all the vendors that I was working with, but I haven't done it for the actual customers. And you never know who who could know somebody, refer, whatever. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Mike or Lael, of just, hey, I'm sending out like a pretty big list and email to them with a soft call to action. Any best practices there, or do you feel like what I just said was pretty much it?
So you can test that in batches if you like.
Mm-hmm.
What I would recommend though, at the same time, is whenever you send the first email, you want to have an email sequence like for your end goal, right? So I wouldn't just send one email without knowing what your remaining emails are going to be.
Right.
So that could be something that, I love email. So that could be something that, we could review for you, as well as the email sequence to the clients that you've already touched base with.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Like, you need to kind of think in terms of second, third, and fourth order consequences, right? Like you need to have a game plan. You don't just want to be hip firing one message out at a time and seeing where it goes. Like, you can build in interest. You can build in. Remember, we talked about I think it was module 2 or 3 about market sophistication and awareness, right? Like, you can build that in. If you put out messaging that builds the awareness first and then starts to feed into supporting the need or the solution to now address the thing that they are now aware of, because you said that earlier, you know what I mean? So you can feel a lot more confident just putting pure value, no call to action type messaging out, knowing where it's going.
Yeah.
You're not planting a seed, watering it, then looking at waiting for it to grow on the spot. You're like, okay, I'm going to plant the seed. I'm going to water this thing for a while, installing value into it, nutrients into the equation, and then I'm going to start dropping actual water on it to make it grow.
Yeah.
So you can actually build in that market awareness. But yeah, again, to Lael's point, you need to be intentful about that process.
Yeah.
There's going to be some nuances too that are important with that, Phil, like unsubscribes and some different things, but we can jam on that, offline as well.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm definitely a believer in batching things, at least enough to test a couple different subject lines, things like that. I wouldn't just be like market blasting to 20,000 people and cross my fingers, like 20,000 person list. That's a massive asset that you can nurture for a long time if you treat it right. And I think that's the biggest thing I'll end on here, is that a lot of people just use a list as an ATM machine.
Right.
And they start hammering away at the thing and getting pissed off eventually that it stops spitting out money. It's because, you never invested by putting money back in. Like, actually care about these people. Every time you send a message, you need to realize that that's a literal human being with feelings, a whole bunch of other shit going on in their life. And the way that you would mess or talk to them one-on-one in person better feel very similar to how you're messaging them to them on an email.
Yeah.
And it's just something that considers like, wow, yeah, this is like a human being I'm reaching out to. Like, I should probably change the way I'm going to interact right here. So it's more arduous. It takes more time. That's why not as many people do it, which is why you'll stand out when you do.
Yeah, that's really good advice. That's why I write in the morning before my day goes crazy and I'm anxiety attack or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
no, it's great stuff, guys. Thank you.
Yeah,
Cool.
man. Gonzalo, are you back in your office, man?
Oh man, what a day, dude! I got a boomerang and I had to go fix stuff, so I still haven't even changed my gym clothes. Anyway, so I have a bunch of questions as we go through stuff, and more than looking forward to having that call, Mike, tomorrow and Lyle. But in terms of messaging, I'm going quite bonkers on the messaging back again. And I'm having a hard time prioritizing which messages to go for, because you got the guys that engage with you, right? The guys that you send, like my message typically is like, hey, name, and I've seen you view my profile, or if you become a follower, or you have started following our newsletter. I have different angles there. You have a very interesting profile. Let me know if I can help you with anything. That for me works beautifully, because like low key, low pressure. People are like, actually, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and it starts the conversation easy. Now, I do get a bunch of those that accept and never reply, and the ones that say, oh, likewise, or thank you. So in terms of batching, like you're saying, Mike, how would you go about, shooting for what messages? Because I do have, for example, people that were engaged like 3 months ago, but I dropped the conversations because I didn't have, the 25th hour in the day.
Yeah.
So at this point, this whole prioritization game, and this is a question, where do I prioritize? Because there's so much. Like I could go into my Expandy and I have 3 levels of warm. Something I could definitely show you tomorrow, because I really tried to use Expandy to sort of like do this like response middle, but without the responses becoming canned and crappy.
It's time to start thinking about the fact that it's not about how, it's about who.
Yeah, person, right?
You need a person.
Everybody. Yeah, dude. I know.
Yeah. You will throttle your results by doing anything else. So you are right now at that point where you need to start going, okay, who, not how.
I already have someone, Mike, but he's my PM, project manager. He's in person here in Mexico, bilingual. But I've actually trained him to take care of 60 to 80% of my cohorts. He's pretty well versed. He gives good feedback. So I'm being able to detach and start building the circle and all that stuff. But I'll tell you this, on the sales pipeline, we could have someone 8 hours a day working on it.
So you should.
Now, in person, or would you go for a VA? And this is probably something we can talk about tomorrow. But what is that? Who? Because I have the capability to hire Guadalajara, where I'm at. It's like the old legacy call center capital of the U.S.
Yeah,
it's just
I always like to have people under my roof if I can, just because it's pretty hard to beat that human connection,
Exactly.
And so do you have an office space, or where do you work out of?
I'm in a building that has a co-work. So in fact, my employee comes 3 times a week. Used to come 5, but I give him that.
So you should have someone there, and just boiler room, man, all day long, 8 hours a day. Your job is to get me on the phone with people and pre-qualify them 100%. Yeah. And give them a little bit of a piece of, give obviously performance-based income, right? So small base plus performance, and get them loading up your calendar. And then once they start loading up your calendar where you can't handle that, then it's time to bring in, a salesperson. Yeah.
Right. So the thing is, Marcos, my PM, my project manager, he already has a very good grasp of our cohort, our program, the sales process. So I'm wondering, and he's obviously excited to become that salesperson. I've given him some discovery calls. And remember last week, Peyton was saying of, grabbing those people I haven't been able to get a hold of, and then throwing them into strategy calls with Marcos, with my PM, and teaching him the script. Because at this point, Mike, I've done over 1,000 calls in the past 2 to 3 years. So I'm pretty solid on the script.
Okay. So is he aspiring to be a salesperson?
Oh yeah. He used to be one at Herbalife and stuff like that. The thing is, he's got this, not stingy, but the clunky, sales persona of, well, like you have a problem. Well, we actually have a solution, kind of like pushiness, but I can fix that. And I've already been giving him some discovery calls, from which I've already have a closing out of one of the discovery calls he picked, which I find that like a positive KPI. So, and I know he wants to make more money, right? So if he could get his base, a bonus I'm paying him right now, and a commission for every closed sale. And then his responsibility would be to train the next dude, the next guy, to start picking the slack of the cohort and have 2 people that can pick up cohort calls and support client fulfillment.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, it's typically more challenging to find a really a really strong culture fit and skilled, salesperson. So versus a PM, a project manager. So my suggestion would be, if he truly is the type of person you're looking for that you feel confident in having present your offer to the marketplace, then I would have him start migrating into that position and backfilling himself as a PM with somebody else. And that could be a VA. I don't know the full extent of everything he does, but I'm imagining the skills required to do that are easier to transfer than salesmanship is.
I see. Like what you're saying in short is, it's easier to train someone on the job he's doing right now than train someone on the job he's going to be doing in the future.
Yeah.
That of sales.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I feel like in that case, we can actually bring someone in cheaper on the back end, younger or something like that, and train them up. He's been with me about 9 months now. Like he started June last year. And it really gets like at least 3 to 4 months on the training, because the things we do are pretty technical. Like teaching someone how to write a very solid data-driven resume, it's not a joke. Like customer service.
When you say PM, like maybe I'm thinking about something else. Are you saying that he is helping clients once they're in? Is he actually helping them?
Yeah, in fact, I pass them on to him. Like, I do all the sales, and
so that's client services.
Yeah,
that's a client services role. When I think project manager, I'm thinking more tech, kind of behind the scenes.
Okay. No. He used to be a PM in Hewlett Packard and Herbalife. That's why I'm saying PM, my bad. But like, in fact, I started a month ago to call him like client services director.
Yeah, that's what it sounds more like. He's like, okay, well, client service director is a hard thing to fill too. So
the idea is that he stays as a client services director, but I give him the person. It's like, hey, dude, so this is your person now. He's good at building teams. So
you could, I mean, you could have it to where you have someone who's a little bit more autonomous, just working the leads, texting people back, following up, etc. Essentially being the SDR for him to be the actual salesperson, if you want to do it that way. I mean, there's a few different ways we can go here, but ultimately the solution, I'll catch you later, Ben. The solution we're looking for is, how do we get you doing less of this stuff? Because you've now bottlenecked the growth of your company, because you have all this lead opportunity that's not being realized, so or cultivated. So there's multiple different ways, like we just talked about. You can use somebody internal and have him fill that in, but now client services is going to start to get throttled because he's so busy doing this. Or you can bring somebody new in. I mean, I don't know that there's a right or wrong here. It's going to take a little bit of you deciding on a gut level his abilities and aptitudes, and maybe even blind spots and things that he's not good at. So I don't have I can't tell you one way or the other, but the solution, what I can tell you to wrap this thing up is it's time to build a team, and you need to actually have an org chart in your mind, even if you don't have it, even if you can't necessarily afford it right now as a founder of your organization with clear idea of where you want this company to go. My suggestion would be that you have a very clearly written out org chart of what it would take to actually hit the type of numbers you want to hit.
Right. So to wrap it up, like the idea I have with him going into this direction, obviously, is, he started from scratch and he's been wanting growth and to see the company grow. So I sort of, not that I owe it to him, but I know it's something to get him very excited. So for him to do sales, it's more, I think he'd be just another appointment blocker in the calendar, so we could take double the calls. So the goal is to take double the calls and have someone get better on his end, and obviously me get better, which is what Peyton said last week. Like, bring up closing rates. That org chart right now is 4 people. It's me plus 3. It's me, Marcos at the top, and then some sort of like support team for both sides.
Okay.
You know, this
Well,
sales.
Yeah, let's dig into that one-on-one for sure on your call, and then we'll get more specific. But ultimately, it's you are now in this evolution of, as the entrepreneur, as the business owner, to start realizing that we need to get you out of some of these things, and you need to start investing in other people so that you can grow. Otherwise, you're going to be just banging yourself up against a glass wall physically and mentally.
I've already been, Mike.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's now time to start growing as a business owner, and not just the operator, but actually own the business and work through people instead of with your hands. Yeah,
I'm actually forcing myself to do that too. I see job that is not done, and I'm like push myself back, like, don't take that message, Marcos. What is happening? You know. So
yeah, you need more team in place to do that more often. It sounds like.
Do you feel it'd be a good idea to bring him on tomorrow? Probably not. Not at least not yet.
I wouldn't bring him on yet.
No. Okay.
No.
All right, Mike. Thanks a lot, man. Looking forward to it tomorrow. And Lyle, I'm good with that time. I'm just gonna move another client around. Okay. All right.
Got it.
Sweet, guys. Thanks a lot. God bless.
Cool. All right. Any other questions before we roll? Think we're good. All right.
Nope, not seeing
Cool.
anything here.
All right, guys. Remember, homework role playing is the name of the game. Sales clinic call tomorrow, and you can have the best offer, solution, service in the world, but if you can't convert and bring people home with it, then you're going to be a broke genius. So let's learn to make those conversions, and we're here to help every single Tuesday for that exact purpose. All right. I'll see you guys in the channels. Anything you need, we're here for you. And have a fantastic Monday, guys. We'll see you.
See ya. Thanks.